Yeah, it's not brushless, man. It's just an M12 cordless high performance jigsaw. And we're going to compare it to this guy right here, the DeWALT 20V, and see if this video can help you decide whether you need a 12 volt or a 20 volt, and show you the differences between the two. And if a 12 volt is just as capable as a 20 volt and it can save you money, it can save you space, it can save you weight. So if it can, then why not go with something a bit smaller that can get the same job done for you? So let's go over some of the specs here. Alright, so we have 2800 strokes per minute. Stroke length is 3/4 of an inch, and quick lock T-shank, that's the blade clamp, is a quick lock T-shank. Bevel capacity is 45 degrees, just like that DeWALT 20 volt that we had. The length of the tool is 8 and 3/4 inches. And the weight is 3.8 pounds. The DeWALT 20 volt that I had, the XR with the 5 amp hour battery, was 6 pounds, 0.8 ounces. So we'll see what this guy comes out to with the 4 amp hour battery. The red link technology for overload protection. And then you have the quick lock blade clamp, tool free blade chain. And you have the battery life indicator on the tool itself. But yeah, so that's pretty much the initial specs on it. This is the M12 2445-20 model here. So let's go ahead and open this bad boy up and put it to work. My trusty handy dandy pocket knife. Alright, so let's open this thing up. Alright, so let's identify all the different components on this Milwaukee M12 high performance jig saw. It does have a non-marring shoe, right? So you can just lift this off here. And there you go. You got to make sure it goes in place here on the front, and then it'll just pop in place on the back, just like that. Nice non-marring shoe. And then it's got the quick lock tension lever right here. This is what you pull on to insert the blade, right? And then this one comes with the anti-splinter plastic piece right there, pre-installed. So it just has it there for you. You don't have to insert it like the DeWALT one. Nice little insert to have for your jigsaw tools. And then of course here is the blade insert with the wheel. And you want to get the blade on that center channel there in the wheel. And then this one's a little more simple than the DeWALT in my opinion. This is the shoe adjustment level here. So you just flip it out and then you can turn the shoe up to 45 degrees either way. So it's just much faster than the DeWALT one in my opinion, because the DeWALT one you got to kind of slide it out, then turn it, slide it back in, whereas this one is just twist it after you release the lever. And then of course you have the trigger here, which you can lock and unlock, right? You can lock it here, the lock button. Of course my handle right there, the battery inserted there. Yeah, so I'm excited to get the battery in here and test this guy out and then compare it to the 20 volt. And then we can, I'll provide prices for both jigsaws in this video. I'll include the links in the description of the video. It's just easier for you to not have to look them up. And then of course it's got the nice black grippy overmold that I love on any tools when they provide that, because it just gives you that extra added control and maneuverability and just easier to grip and handle. Those are the components on this M12 high performance jigsaw. Let's get the battery on here. We're going to weigh it. It's about almost 2 pounds lighter than the 20 volt DeWALT with a 5 amp hour battery. It's right there. It's 4 pounds, 12.2 ounces. The DeWALT with the 5 amp hour, from what I remember, is 6 pounds, or just over 6 pounds here. Check that out. 6 pounds, 0.4 ounces. With the blade, it was 6 pounds, 0.8 ounces. So that's what you get with a 20 volt. But we'll see how the 12 volt performs against a 20 volt. See if there's much of a difference. And to insert the blade here, all you do is get this switch right here. Make sure you get this lever all the way to the left there before you can insert this guy. Okay, I think that's it. Alright, and now it's inserted. Again, just make sure you push it all the way down and in, and then once you release that lever, it will lock in nice and secure there. Alright, let's get a battery in here and see how this thing does. Alright, so the M12 does have a variable speed trigger. but it does not have any speed setting capabilities like the 20-volt DeWALT. But at least you have variable speed trigger, so that helps you control the speed of the blade. Strokes per minute as well, so very, very nice. Got the 4 amp hour battery on it. Let's see how this thing cuts, man. Sounds good, feels good. Oh, that's pretty cool. So this thing will either stand, it can stand this way, of course, on the shoe, or it could stand like that as well. So that's pretty cool. Obviously you can only do that with the 4 amp or the 6 amp. Alright, so let's go ahead and cut this fence picket. Let's go across and see how well it does and how smoothly it does. And this is with the Milwaukee blade. And then I'll kind of compare it to the DeWALT. Okay, that's a decent amount of time there. Let's see if the DeWALT feels like it pushes faster here. They're both on the highest setting here. Yeah, so the DeWALT is pushing much faster. It cuts through faster, getting more strokes per minute there. I have this trigger fully engaged. Let's try it again. So this one is a little bit slower. I think it's not as many strokes per minute as the DeWALT when it's on the highest setting. The way it feels and the way I'm experiencing it in person, the Milwaukee is a little bit slower. The strokes are fewer. It takes a bit longer for it to get through this 5-inch picket. Let's go ahead and try the 45-degree angle cutting on here as well. See how it does here. Here we go. Yeah, it cuts beautifully. It's clean. It's just as clean as the DeWALT. This one is easier to switch the angles there, so that might be a big factor for somebody. And it's got the arrow there letting you know when it's at 0. Okay, let's go ahead and cut at a 45-degree angle and see how this XR does here and how clean it cuts. Okay, that turned out very, very nice. Let's try it on the 2x4. Okay, let us see how the Milwaukee does with a 2x4 here. That was interesting. Yeah, it just takes a bit longer. So that was a 2x4 with the Milwaukee, and here's the difference with the DeWALT. So that just shows you the DeWALT is quite a bit faster. Now I want to see how the Milwaukee does with turning and maneuvering while cutting. No problems there. It works just fine. It cuts clean. It does a good job. Just a bit slower, but it is lighter, more compact. This, I think, is a better tool for fine-tuning and having a little bit more control over your work and what you're going to do. Whereas the Milwaukee is just for me, I feel is just, it'll get the job done, but you can't do as much fine-tuning as the DeWALT. Still has 4 bars left. Again, this one's easier to adjust the angle of the cut than it is on the DeWALT, so you can save time there. Alright, now we're going to do the same test, speed-wise, to see how long it takes the Milwaukee to cut through a 1/8 inch thick metal plate. Let's see how quickly it does this cut. And then we'll put the same blade on the DeWALT. Here we go. Alright, so that's an idea there of how quickly that cuts. And it cuts it fine. It just may not be as fast as the DeWALT. And we'll show you that here in a moment. And this one has 1 LED light versus the DeWALT has 2. I don't know if that's a big difference to anyone there. Here's how quickly the DeWALT does it. So yeah, again, 20 volt, 12 volt. To some of you that might be a big difference. To some it may not be. But yeah, that's what it cut through. Let's go ahead and try a square pipe here. Okay, so again, here it is with the DeWALT. Okay, that's what you get with that. Alright, now observe the Milwaukee 12 volt. So not bad. But the DeWALT is faster overall, performance wise. And that's the advantage I think the DeWALT has. or it's a nice feature to have. The DeWALT gives you more options speed-wise, and you can regulate your work a bit better. Whereas the Milwaukee is more compact, a little bit easier to adjust the different angles that you want. It has the breakaway protection plastic piece already in place. My thoughts on this guy is that yes, it is lighter. It can do the jobs that you need it to do. It just doesn't have the fine-tuning capabilities as that 20-volt DeWALT. So again, depending on the prices and what it is you're looking for, if you just want something that's a little lighter, almost as fast as that DeWALT, a little bit less capability as far as on the settings and whatnot, but it is a variable speed trigger. It's just that when it's opened up fully to the max speed, it doesn't compare, or it cannot reach the same speed as that 20-volt DeWALT. Now this is a 12-volt, so you know it makes sense. And then that 20-volt DeWALT is a brushless, whereas this is brushed. It has a smaller battery, right? A 4 amp hour battery. So all those things could be a factor. I'm guessing if you get a 6 amp hour battery, it might perform a little bit better and be a little faster. But overall, what I would say is if you get a better price on this and you prefer something more compact, then I would go with the Milwaukee. But if you don't care about the size and the weight and the price, then I would go with the DeWALT.